All right. Good afternoon, everyone, from wherever you are part of this another episode of our study series on mastering Microsoft Fabric from data to insight. It has been a very wonderful journey so far. And today we'll be looking at episode 4, which has a topic that is known as building data pipelines in Microsoft Fabric, a step-by-step ETL guide. All right. This is being presented by my humble self, Kupola Olamilekan, as Microsoft certified trainer. I'm also a specialist in the area of data, artificial intelligence, and automation of business processes. Today is 20s. Today is 4th. Today is 4th of October 2025. My apology for that. The last date is what we are seeing on the slide at the moment. And today we are looking at a very critical aspect of data analysis and data automation, and that has to do with what, how can we automate our data processes, right? Because the world is thinking about automation at the moment. The world is thinking about how can we get hooked to a particular subject matter at every point in time that the need is arised. So for now, people are now thinking about how to automate our processes, and that's what pipeline is all about. We see that very shortly. Um, as regards my humble self, I did mention that Kukwala Sakalamilika is my name. I'm Microsoft certified trainer, and I have specialization on issues that have to do with cloud technologies, making use of cloud technology for solving a lot of data related problems. I'm also engaged in automation of business processes by consulting for organizations who are thinking about how to automate their day-to-day operations. I also take part in designing and review of exam questions. Yes, for a lot of clients. I also take part in corporate information technology technical training sections. I also strongly involved in tech-based community development, where we mentor newbies into tech environment, or we collaborate with colleagues who are professionals in solving a lot of problems that may require the attention of different clients. All right, so this is a little bit about my specialization, a little bit about my certifications, and of course, you can get across to me on my LinkedIn account. All right, so today we'll be having a recap of episode 3, and we'll be having what is the learning objective for today's section, which is episode 4. Um, I did mention that today is data pipeline. Somebody may be interested to know what is a data pipeline within the context of Microsoft Fabric. Yes, we also be looking at core components of data pipelines. Of course, we'll be having a demo on building a data pipeline and best practices for data pipelines, and of course, real world use cases. And I'll be entertaining questions in case they are available. All right, for episode 3, we look at last episode we look at various pathways for data integration in Microsoft Fabric, right? And the key content for that episode focus on why do we need data ingestion methods, what the overview of integration pathways, deep dive into each pathways. We had demos. Of course, we look at best practices for data ingestion, and we also look at real world scenarios. So, if you have missed that episode 3, I have recommended the link to that episode 3 here on this slide, where you can have a glimpse into what I discuss under module 3. Under module 3, it will be of very valuable importance if you pay attention to this particular module, because each episode of this study series is building on what I have covered in the last episode. All right. Now, for today's episode, the learning objective is that by the end of this module, which is this episode, learners will understand how to design and build data pipelines in Microsoft Fabric for seamless data ingestion, transformation, and orchestration. So the key message is this. Um, this is talking about the core competence on the core usage of Fabric of data pipeline in Fabric, which is for what? Seamless data ingestion, for data transformation, and data orchestration. Those are the three key major areas of usage of what of pipeline data pipeline. So we'll also be looking at how to move data into the lakehouse or warehouse, apply best practices for scheduling and monitoring, and connect your pipelines with Power BI for end-to-end analytics. So that is if we are moving to analytics point of view, right? So we'll be building more foundation today. We are not going to more advanced level of data pipeline, but at least how we can understand some basic terminologies, some basic operations, and some basic delivery in terms of end-to-end projects on what on the data pipeline. All right. So, what is a data pipeline? MS me Microsoft. What is a data pipeline in Microsoft Fabric? A data pipeline is like a data conveyor belt. It allows you to bring in data from multiple sources, applying transformations, and deliver it into your lakehouse or warehouse. Now, the idea is this: you want to move data from there's what we call a source, right? We want to move data from a source to a what? To a destination, right? There's a data that is located at a point. Let us call it point A, which we regard to as what? As source. And you want to move data to point B, which is also regarded as what? Destination. Right. Now, in between point A and point B, there could be a lot of activities, right? There could be a lot of activities that can happen. That is, I want to move my data from point A to B. Then what are the likely activities that can happen? Now it may be that maybe from the source, some the arrangement of the data was not properly done, and there could be a kind of transformational activities that I may need to do before it get to final destination. No, so that's a pipeline. A pipeline, when you look at a pipeline or within the context of water engineering, when you look at a pipeline is just a mechanism of carrying maybe water in terms of water engineering from carrying water from a point to another point. And while that water is moving, a lot of activities can happen. There may be a need for water, to bend to the right, to bend to the left, to climb up, to move horizontally, to move vertically. So also the concept of pipeline in data feed, right? So we move data from different sources, and then we move it to a unified platform for a kind of business, business solving business issues, solving business case challenges, right? So it can also be described as a low code, no code orchestration tool for moving and transforming data. Now, there are two things that we use data pipeline for, right? We use it for what? Data movement, right? We use it for what? Data, three things. We use it for data movement, we use it for data automation, right? And we use it for what? Data transformation, right? Automation, transformation, and data movement. Now, the idea is that within the context of data engineering, there is a terminology we call what? ETL, extract, transform, and what? And load. Now, extract means what? There is a data that is, that is available at a particular point in time, and we want to extract data. We call it a source, right? We want to extract data from that source and bringing it into an environment where we can transform that data And then after data has been transformed, we can now load this to maybe a storage on where we want to do analysis, right? That is data loading. And then we can also do what we call ETL, extract, load, and transform. So these are terminologies. Is either ETL. So this is ETL. So is that we talk about ETL or ELT. So that is we are loading data. If you are loading data before transformation, that is ETL. But if you are transforming data, if you are transforming data before loading, that is ETL. But if you are loading data before transformation, that is what? That is ELT. ELT. So these are terminologies within data engineering workspace. Now, data pipeline are similar to Azure Data Factory. There's what we call Azure Data Factory, ADF. This is one of the technologies within Microsoft Azure platform, which we used for what? For also data pipeline. So they are similar to Azure Data Factory, but fully embedded in what? In Fabric. Now, um, in when you have an idea, the idea is that this is one of the tools for data engineering. Yes, it is being used majorly by data engineers, right? Before the advent of Microsoft Fabric, we were using Microsoft Azure, right, for a lot of data engineering concept. And at that level, the technology that we use for data engineering is what we know as Azure Data Factory. Today, with the advent of Microsoft Fabric, we now have it as an embedded technology in what? In a Microsoft Fabric, and we call it what? We call it a data pipeline. We will see this very shortly. If you remember, during our last episode, I did mention that there are a lot of data ingestion pathways, the likes of data pipeline, the likes of um, Gen 2, data flow Gen 2, the likes of direct upload, the likes of Notepad, Notebook, the likes of event stream, and a host of others. So now we are now cascading. We started from what? General introduction to Azure Data Fabric. In our module 2, we discussed about storage, where we look at data lake. And in the module 3, we now look into data ingestion pathways. And today we are now looking at one of the pathways for injecting data into our Fabric environment. But we are looking more beyond data ingestion at this level. All right, so what are the core components of data pipeline? The major components of data pipelines include activities, connectors, control flow, and monitoring. Activities, connectors, control flow, and monitoring. For activities, this is where you define what activities you want to perform. I did mention that if you want to move data from point A, right, from point A to point B. Um, Point A is our source, right? And point B is what? Is the destination. We want to move data from a source to a destination. There could be a lot of activities that can happen before the transformation can be fully done. And those transformations are what we call what? We call them activities. Now we also have what we call connectors. Connectors is they are kind of what? How do we connect? Because we are talking about what? Moving data from a source to destination. There could be a lot of connectors that may be required. How do we connect to the source, right? Before we can move to what? Destination. It could be through SQL, it could be through blob storage, which is a Microsoft Azure platform. It could be maybe you want to make use of APIs or software as a service applications, as the case may be. I also have what we call control flow, which could be maybe there are a lot of in the case of transformations, there could be some conditions that may be required, that if these conditions are not fulfilled, that this operation should not be done, or if these and these are fulfilled, that these are the next operation that can be done. There's also what we call error handling. That is, if at any point in time, in the movement of data from one point to another, there are errors, or there are issues that are encountered along the line. Then we can now look at, okay, those issues, how can we handle those errors, right, for smooth operations subsequently. Then we also have what we call monitoring. Under this, we are looking at what different logs. We can check the sources and failure. We can track failures and sources. For instance, now if there is a process that needs to be completed before another one is being executed, we want to check out whether those operations were successful, because if the first stage operation is not successful and we have said that, okay, the output of the first stage should go to the next stage, of course there will be failure at the second stage because the first output has not been generated, so there couldn't be any input into the next what into the next activity. So we can also be talking about alert. Maybe if if an operation is successful, I want to get a message, or if an operation failed, I also want to be notified so that at any point in time I can conduct monitoring and evaluation as the case may be. All right. So what are the stepping step what are the steps in building a data pipeline? Number one is that you need to create a pipeline. A pipeline is just a kind of experience, a kind of activities that is within the Fabric workspace. You need to create a pipeline, and when you create a pipeline, then you also need to add your source data set. I did mention that when you're talking about pipeline, we are talking about moving data from one location to another location, which in this case from the source to destination. There will be a need to add our data set source. We also need to add a destination. That is, when you are moving the data from a particular point to another point, I want to see where is that coming from and to where is that going to. So in this case, we'll be moving in our demo, we'll be moving a data set from on-prem, right? So on-prem is that we have a solution on our laptop. We'll be moving our data from our on-prem into what? Into uh, Fabric, making use of data pipeline. And then also it will finally go to a data destination, which is a Fabric Lakehouse table. So we can do a lot of configuration transform. We can configure a lot of transformations. We can run the pipeline. We can monitor execution, and we can also verify ingested data in the Lakehouse Explorer. So these are the what? These are the basic steps that are required in carrying out what? In carrying out or in building a data pipeline in Microsoft Fabric environment. All right, so let me quickly take you to data pipeline environment within Fabric environment. Just a moment, let me share my browser. Let me share my browser. Um, all right, so let me drop this page and add the browser page. Just a moment. Uh, yes, let me add my browser. Um, Let me check where that is located. Okay, Fabric. Yes, this is Fabric environment. Let me share that. Um, um, Fabric. Um, okay, so this is the Fabric environment. Let me reload that. Let me reload that. So it is loading at the moment. Um, so that is loading. That is loading. Let us wait a little bit. Let me check another browser to make it more faster. Let me share another browser. Um, Let me share another browser. There has been lots of issues as regards network. During rainy season, we do encounter such as challenges. But let me try something else very quickly. Let me try something else very quickly. Um, Browser. Um, 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 Network has been to. Okay. Um, okay, fine. So I'm sharing another. Fine. I'm sharing another environment, which is another browser environment. I did mention environment. There is what we call what? There's what we call there's what we call Microsoft account. For instance, I can add apps. So this is the web address for having access to the fabric. App.fabric.microsoft.com. I click on enter, and from there it will ask me for my login details, which we covered in our module one, in our episode one. But as at now, I have my login details, so I'm not logging in again. I'm already within the environment. All right, so because we want to work with we want to work with data pipeline. So what we need to do, let us create a new environment for this experience. Let me click on new workspace. From new workspace, we want to call it what? Data pipeline. So we want to create a new workspace for this environment. Data pipeline demo. I click on apply, right? So it is trying to create a workspace. Okay, not available. Somebody is bearing this. Okay, let me add two to my own data pipeline demo 2. Um, all right, so now my data pipeline demo has been published. So now it means that the all the demo we want to be doing will be doing today will be inside this pipeline demo, data pipeline demo. Now, to have access to pipeline, data pipeline, like I did mention under data ingestion last episode, there are two ways you can achieve that, right? You can achieve that by going to new item, right? You can go to new item and you look for what pipeline. I can come here to write pipeline in the search bar, pipeline, right? So which is what? Data pipeline, right? Which is a get data pipeline. Or I can, decide to go from what? To go from the lake house. So in my own case, because when you have a pipeline is just to connect to a data source and drop the data at the destination. So there must be where the data will be where will be dropped. So which means that we need a lake house. So in that case, let me create a lake house first, which is where I'm bringing my data into as destination, right? So, and that's let me create a lake house first. A lake house is just for data storage, right? Like we did mention, sign up for this. We don't need this. Um, is our lake house coming up? Let us check that. Uh, Lake house. So this is our lake house. Enter is a workspace name and then select create. Unable to create the items. It's not in the same region. Okay, let us do this. Um, okay, that's fine. All right, so we want to create a lake house. Let me call it lake house. I click on create, which will be the destination of where my data is moving into, right? So from this environment, let me also open another fabric for the kind of explanation that I want to give just now. So my lake house is being created, which will be the storage for on the destination for the account that I'm trying to for the data that I'm trying to bring on board. All right. So um, the data is being created. I mean, the lake house is being created. Let me see this one. Okay, this one is also going. We want to select the already created what lake house. We call it what? Um, we call it a demo. I think we call it demo, data pipeline demo. Okay, this is this environment, right? So I did mention the other time that there are two ways you can, ingest data from a source to a destination. The first way is to make use of um, the lake house, which we witnessed the other time, right? Under this environment, I can go to new pipeline. I can create a new pipeline, and whatever I'm bringing in will now come to this environment by default, right? We now come to this environment by default. So if I click on new pipeline, so it will take me to um, if I want to call it what, maybe pipeline one. Let us leave it by default, pipeline one, which is the one way we can take from what from the Lakehouse. The second way we can create our pipeline is when we go to what we go to new item, and from the new item we now look for what we now look for pipeline, and we click on pipeline. So enter a workspace name. I think we add LH the other time. Not available. Okay, maybe LH2. Enter a workspace name and then select create. Our workspace name is data pipeline demo. Not available, please edit. Okay, so let us leave this part alone. At least we have seen the first part from here. All right, so in data from a particular source to a what? To a destination, right? So which means we want to copy data from a particular source, and that is why in the sequence that I just told us, that how do we go about data pipeline, we need to choose a data source, that is where is our data located. Secondly, we need to connect to data source. From data source, we need to choose data destination, where is it going to, and we also need to connect to data destination, and then we do a review and we save. So as at now, we want to choose our data source, right? So from here to see where is our data located. Let me check from the view, and where is my data available. My data is available in on-prem, which is in form of what? In form of Excel, right? In form of Excel. So these are some other connectivities that we can connect our data to, right? So, but in this case, if I go to file, it's now saying, okay, where is our data available? Or if it is in database, we can check where is our data available, or if it is in Power Platform as a source. If it is in Azure, maybe our data is located in the Azure SQL database, or it is located within what? Within online services, or there are other ways our data is being what? Is being saved. All right, it's been said. So we can also make use of work one lake catalog, which has to do with what? Another source that we can have for our data. We can also connect with sample data. We can connect with sample data. That is, these are data that are being made available by what? By Microsoft. By Microsoft. So if you go to home, these are the various ways we can connect with our our data source. So now, if I look at the other ways of what of bringing in data, I can see that, okay, what is the activities that I want to do? I want to do what? I want to, if I go to activity, I want to move data, which means I want to copy data. It can ask me where is my data available. So of I to Canva, that is, I want to copy data from a particular point, which is our what? Our data source, and I'm taking it to what? I'm taking it to destination, and I can have what? I can have settings along the line. So if I look at the source, so where is my data available? So these are various places we can connect to my data, right? So as at now, let me upload my data into this data lake environment. As at now, let me go back to my workspace. Let's what is my workspace? I think demo 2. yes, demo 2. And from demo 2, we have Lakehouse, right? We have Lakehouse. I think we created Lakehouse the other time. Let me check my workspace again. Is see data pipeline demo 2 that we use. Um, okay, so let us make use of data pipeline demo. We want to create our lake house first. So let us create our lake house, right? So enter in workspace name. We want to call it lake house 1, right? Okay, perfect. From Lakehouse 1, Lakehouse 1, I click on create. So there are a lot of changes that Microsoft has done to this environment. Now let me bring in my data. Let me upload my data, making use of upload. And the data I want to bring in is located on my on-premise, which is a Superstore 1. And the Superstore 1, I click on load. It's now being loaded. So Superstore 1, I'm bringing in data to this environment, um, into Superstore 1. Okay, so the data has been uploaded. If I check, I can come here to refresh to know if my data has been, um, you know, successfully. Now the data has been what? The data has been moved in. It has been moved in successfully. Now, if I need to connect to pipeline, I can say, okay, I want to connect to a new pipeline. So I want to call it pipeline 1. And that pipeline 1, so I want to copy data from where. Let me close this. Let me close this. Now it's not asking. So this is what this is our pipeline environment, and we want to bring in data into our pipeline environment. I can go to activities. The first activities is to copy data, right? So I click on add to canvas, and from canvas I can now see, okay, the source, the destination. Those are the two important things that I need to make adjustment on: the source of the data and to where the data is being um, uh, delivered to. So from the source, check what are different sources that I have. Uh, Most recent one is that I have the lake house. Right? So I'm copying data from lake house, which I just updated. It's not asking me, is it table on file? Of course, is a table. All right, so if I want to have a preview of data that I'm bringing in, I can click on preview. Then if I have a file, I can come to the file and select a particular file of what, a particular file of interest. All right, so now in this case, we are making use and a table is loading. Let me refresh. Okay, let me check file and the directory. Just to check the directory. um this is loading, and the directory is this. I click on OK, and the directory has been supplied. All right, so which means I'm bringing in a particular file into this environment. So that is my source, right? I'm connecting to a Lakehouse that has this file that has this particular name. Okay, that's fine. Now I go to destination. Destination is that where am I copying that data to? Where am I copying it to? So I go back, that I now look at what's destination. Where is that going to? I want to copy from file, and I'm taking it to a particular table inside what? Inside the lake house environment. So I'm connecting to a lake house. If I have any other places I'm taking it to, yes, I'm also at liberty to drop it to any place. But as at now, I want to drop it inside what? The lake house, right? So um if I have some advanced capabilities from here, I can check those capabilities. But for now, I don't need any capability. I just want to move data in and then data out. So now that has been specified. I've specified the source and I've specified the destination, right? So now, after you have done that, there could be some other operations that may be required. Now, these are four things that can happen after a data. Now, if I go to this, maybe under general, so the name I have here is what? Is copy data, but I can call it maybe data ingestion, right? Through a pipeline, through a pipeline. Right? I'm doing data ingestion through a pipeline. So that's the name of that activity, data ingestion through a pipeline. All right. So after this, there could be four things that can happen, right? So this is the first activities that I want to do. That is to copy data from a what? From source, and to drop it at a particular destination. So what are the four things that can happen? One, there could be on skip. That is, if this process is completed, what are the next things to be done? Am I skipping any other activities? Am I connect on success? That is, if data has been copied successfully, what is the next thing to be done, right? So if data failed, if data copy failed, on fail, what should be done? And another thing is that if data has been copied, the third option is that is on completion, what should be done? The first one is that if data has been copied, do I need to skip this process or it doesn't affect? Now, that's what we call a pipeline. Now, a data has been copied from this environment. Now, let us now say, okay, I want it maybe to, um, you know, some other activities to be done. Maybe I want to have a notebook, right? So I can now say, okay, if data has been copied successfully, uh, that is on sources, what should be done? What should be done is that it must be connected to a notebook, right? That is pipeline. That is, when this operation is successful, then it should be connected to a notebook. Now, it also asks what? On fail, what should be done, right? I can now say, okay, I want a notification. I want a notification. Now, a lot of activities could be done, right? If you come to these three dots, you can see a lot of what? A lot of activities that can be done, right? On data movement, on metadata and validation, on control flow, and on orchestration, right? On notification, right? On notification, and on transformation and machine learning. So now the idea is that, okay, if this has been done, if there is a fail, which is another activity, right? So um, from the first activity, which is to copy. Now on success, which is this sources, what should be done? It should connect to what? A notebook. Then on fail, on fail, that is, if the copy was not done, what should be done? I can now see, okay, on fail, then this should be done, right? On fail. Let me quickly join this to this. Aha. We can now have two operations. This is what we call pipeline, right? Pipeline, which involve a lot of what? A lot of activities. That is, if I copy data and it was copied successfully, what should be done? It should be copied to a notebook, right? And we need to give a name to that notebook. Maybe the name is notebook one, and we can have settings around notebook one. Selected workspace does not have any notebook. Yes. So now we are being told that we don't have any notebook. We can create a new notebook, right? We can create a new notebook from this environment. Uh, we can create a new notebook from this environment, or we can decide to go back to our lake house and create um, another notebook. Maybe from here, we want to have book. We want to have a notebook from here, a new notebook, and that new notebook will now be the process that after this has been done, then let it connect to a new notebook. Our new notebook is being created. All right. So because I click on it twice, let me delete the second one. All right. So the first one is loading. So, like I mentioned the other time, we use notebook for a lot of operations that need to do with running programming language. Maybe you want to run programming language, R programming language, and a host of others. You can run them. Maybe you are a data scientist that write code, and you need a platform to run your code. You can run your code on notebook. So now this our notebook is being created, and once it is created, we just connect our data source, which is from the Lakehouse, to Lakehouse file to what? To a particular notebook. So this is loading. Let us check why there is a delay around this. um all right, so let us check this environment. If I refresh, you should see the list of items I have created, the likes of Lake House, um and the likes of note that is uh, loading at the moment. This is longer than expect. um all right, so let me refresh this. um if I check our workspaces, demo. Okay, I think this has been created. It has taken so much time. uh okay, so finally we now have this in our in our lake house. We have this in our lake house. Let me now see from the pipeline that we are trying to create the other time, how we can connect to a notebook. You is being used for what? Is being used for programming, writing of programming, and data transformation. All right. So let us this one loading. Okay, so let us take it again. Now we want to do what? We want to run activities that we need to create what? That we need to copy data from a source. And where is that source located? The source is located from our lake house, which is for our storage. Then what is the name of the file? We can browse for the name of the file from this environment. There's no need for cramming. So this is the name. Okay, so that has been accepted. What is the destination? Destination is a lake house, right? I click on this. I want to drop it in the lake house, and from the lake house, I want it to be what to be a table. I want it to be a table. Okay, so this operation has been successful now. So what we are trying to do the other time is to also link up with another activity which has to do with what? Notebook. That is, on completion of this activity, what should be the next thing to be done? So that's why on success, what should be done? It should link up with this notebook. That, and we also need to configure this notebook, the notebook settings, which is required. We have a notebook now. Yes, we now have a notebook one. This is our notebook one that I want to connect to. That is fine. And that is on source. If data is successfully copied from the source to destination, then it should also link up to a notebook, maybe for some other data transformation. And on failure, when it failed, we said it should look for what? For fail. Let me come here to see. We call it control flow, right? So let me take it here, and this one here, right? So on success, link up to notebook. On failure, right? Link up to, okay, let me take it from here, right? On failure, then link up to this fail. So we can configure this one, um, maybe in terms of fail message, that is um, data data movement on data injection failed. Data injection failed. Maybe we want to have error code, and our error code can be 404, maybe 404, or any kind of error code, which means that anytime we see error code 404, it means that what? Data injection failed, right? So on success, it should link up to what? It should link up to a notebook for transformation, and on failure, it should do what? It should link up to this fail environment and give us error code and fail message. Maybe that's the only thing that we just need. All right, so the next thing is that we are working within the interface of what? Of a pipeline. And I did mention that we can have activities. As at now, we have three activities. The first activities is to copy data, right? And also on sources, what should be done? It should link up to a notebook that will help us to do transformation. And if that's on failure, that is, if data was not copied, then there should be what? There should be error message that okay, this data injection actually failed. All right, so now we have done a pipeline. This is just a pipeline. From here, we can also continue our building our pipeline as the case may be. So now if I go to run, we have seen the home, we have seen activities, and we have seen run. Under run, it means that okay, this pipeline that I've built, right, from one stage to second stage to third stage, then I can validate. Validate is to test whether what I'm about to do will work or not. Now, can you see this notification? You have one invalid activity. To save the pipeline, you can fix or deactivate that activities. So what is that activities? Let us check where the activities is. Destination must be binary when source is of binary format. and the destination table is required for copy activities. Let us check. Um, destination must be binary when source is binary format. All right, so this one is talking about the format. Let us check the format from here. So the format here is binary, but we are making a case for, let me check some other. um, so this one um, is an Excel file, right? So it's an Excel files that I'm copying, and can you see that it has been fixed? That error message has been fixed. So also here, it's also asking that destination table is required to copy to copy at video. As at now, there's no error message again, so which means that I can close. So that is the essence of validate. If I click on validate again, it is now telling me that okay, destination table is required for copy, which I have done what I have validated. So now the run is that okay, this pipeline that I have validated, I now want to run it. That is validation of model fade, fix it before saving. Where is that? Please select a worksheet. Okay. I can see where the issue is. I can see where the issue is. Let me see that. Um, um, uh, okay, if it's an Excel, I have to pick. A particular Excel type. Okay, let us check that. I click on run. Validation of model fade. Fix destination table is required for copy activities. Destination table is required. So what will be our table? We need to create a new table, and the table should be named what? Um, data ingested. Okay, so that will be our table name, data ingested. So now this has also been fixed. Okay, fine. Now let us now run. uh, if we run, then it is now running. That is, our validation was successful, meaning that there was no error. And then what is now going on is that what we are running the pipeline. We are running the pipeline. That is, carry out that assignment, and that assignment should be carried on. Now, if you now look downward, you can see that under output, we can see that we are copying data from a source. So we are having activity status. That is, the copy activities first, and we also have what we call fail to run pipeline. One few error. Let me check again. Now, the idea is that okay, we're having feedback, that is on copy, right? On copy, what should happen, right? If it failed, we said if it failed, we should have what? We should have a notification. Now, let us check this output on failure. Can you see message data ingestion failed, which was what we composed the other time? Error code 404. All right, fine. Now, on copy, we can now see why was it not copied. This is just um, a kind of message that we have, and the message is that what? Delimited text bad data detected. Bad data detected. So which means that there was a challenge with the way and manner that the data was what um, was prepared. All right. So now this is just a message that we can have, that okay, if it is successful, then it will copy into a notebook. If there is a failure, of course we should get a message, and that is message that we have gotten from this failed that okay, the process was failed. And what caused the failure is when we now click on this, and we now have further information. Now let us look at uh, our failure message. We are told there is what? Error code, delimited text, bad data detected. Let us check that again from here. Bad data detected. Let us see general. From source. Um, let us check this. Delimited text exam. Okay, let us check exam. The file is in CSV, comma delimited value. Let us check. Let us check this. Just a moment. This. Let us check this. This is asking for sheet name. Let us see if we have any sheet name there. So no result. Okay, let us check another format. If it is binary, let us check if we have any advanced. Okay, let us try that. If we run this, let us see. Destination must be binary when source is okay. Now, destination of this, let us check. If it is fine, then it must be what? It must be binary. Okay, which is binary and binary this time around. Okay, let us run it again. We run this. We save and run. So those are kind of challenges that can come up when you are running a pipeline. Maybe there's misconfiguration, and you now get feedback that okay, you misconfigure your pipeline, which was one of the reasons I intentionally asked for. If it failed, then we should get a message, which we actually saw the other time. So as at now, I can see that it has been successful. That is, the copy of data has been what? Has been successful, which means that we properly configured our copy data as an activity. So now the next operation that is going on is what? Notebook. What we said is that immediately the data is copied uh, on sources, you should do what? You should transfer the data to a notebook, which we can now make use for what? We can now make use for transformation and a host of other operations. As at now, our pipeline has run successfully. Data was copied successfully, so there was no failure. So that we can now have on sources. So immediately data was copied successfully, then we now have a feedback that has transmitted the data to what? To a notebook. It has transferred the data to a notebook. So if I check from here, I can feel I can feel run history. As at now, I've run operation twice. One was failed. Can you see? One was failed, and we're able to check why it was failed, and one was what? Successful after we have configured correctly. So we can also go to monitor. Under monitor, we can see, okay, what has happened at what time and what has not happened at another point in time. So let us go back to this is what we call monitoring. This is what we call monitoring. All right. So here we have faith. If we run it again, you will see that there will be no failure again. So, but let me move to the main activities as the case may be. So now this operation has been successful. Now we are aware that data has been copied to a notebook, and the notebook is notebook one. Let us see the notebook one, and let me refresh this environment. Let me refresh this environment. Um, this is being refreshed. Then let me now go to Lakehouse one. Okay, this has been refreshed. Okay, we are now getting that one item and items, the item that has been, we are aware that an item has been added. Let us see. Let me go to Lakehouse one. See what has happened. All right, so can you see now? The other time, this is the data that was, I brought in, I ingested into this environment, which is a superstore one, right? So if you see on that table, I can see that identified, that is, I've ingested a data. You can remember I call it data ingested, right? So now if I open it, I can get further details as regards that. That is, okay, a data has been what? Has been ingested. If I refresh this, let me refresh that. All right, so now this is the data that I ingested into a table. This is data that I ingested into a table, right? So this one was the data that I did what? That I brought in. This data that I brought in as what? Ingested, right? And now change it from what? From the pipeline environment, that it should be called what? Data in, or ingested data, on data ingested. So if I want to see this, now this table is now called what? Quet file. We call it our quet file. Let me open it so that we can see the content. Um, so this is how we can use what? This is how we can use pipeline to ingest data into what? Into Fabric environment, right? So I've used that ETL, that is extract, transform, and load, to bring in data into this particular environment, right? So I'm waiting to see the content of the view table. Okay, let me refresh this. I want to see the content that has been copied. This is upcoming. So now the idea is that as this has been done, that it has copied data from one source to a destination. The loading preview is loading. Now, as this has been done, this process can also be automated, right? That is, I can say, okay, this should be done maybe every 2 minutes, or this may be done every 1 hour, or this may be done every 2 days. That is, anytime I have demarcated, or I have, I marked for copying of the data, is what we copied at any point in time. For instance, now if I go to pipeline one that I use to do this, I can do what we call schedule. I can do schedule. That is, okay, I want this to be done at a particular point in time. So this is the pipeline that I did. And if I go to schedule, I can say, okay, how often do I want this schedule to be done? I can schedule refresh. That is repeat every, I can say, okay, I want this operation to be done maybe every 5 minutes. I want this to be done every 5 minutes, and I want it to start maybe today by this is 2049, maybe by by 250. I want this to start copying by 250, and the date and time has been selected, and I want it to end by today too, by maybe 3:30. I want it to end by 3:30. So I'm selecting this for this side. I want it to end by 3:30. So enter. So which means that I want this operation to be performed every 5 minutes. Well, 5 minutes may be too much, depending on the case study that I'm looking at. I want it to be done every 10 minutes. Yeah, I want this operation to be done every 10 minutes, and it should start from okay, let me make it let me change this time to 55, right? So I want it to start by 2:55 and complete by 3:55, right? So, and I want you to copy by 10 times. So which means that that could be done for like 40 minutes, right? So which means that that will be done by 4 times. The copy will be done by 4 times. So you can also set your time. So I'm in Nigeria. I can look for West African, West Central Africa, and save this. So the implication of this is that I want this operation to be done without necessary my interference, right? Without coming back here that okay, I want this operation to be done at this particular date and time and at this interval. They're making use of the time zone, which is West Africa time zone. Nigeria that I have, that schedule has been activated, right? So the next refresh will start in the what? In the next 3 minutes, which is very correct. So I can just do this. I can just do that. This is about what schedule refresh. There's also what we call trigger. Trigger has to do with what? When something happens, what should be done? When something happens, what should be done? I can add trigger if there is a need for me to do that. I've told you about validate, just to know that my processes is correct, are correct. Run is to validate, run is to what has been validated to run, and also schedule has to do with what? Schedule has to do often do I want that to be done. So this is about trigger that if there's a need for it. So for me, I'm fine with this arrangement, and uh, this is how far we can go. Oh, why this has not come up? You see, because of network. I just want to see the preview of the data that has been copied. Maybe next time when we meet, we'll discuss about more details as regards data pipeline. As at now, we just saw how we can ingest data from source into what? Into destination. The source was from where? Was from the data store one, which was uploaded into the Lakehouse. And the what? The injection is where? The injection is in the um, data in. So if you want to connect with this, we can look at this and see a lot of properties and a lot of things as regard this. All right, so this is how far we'll be going on our demo. Let me take you back to the slide. Let me take you back to the slide. Stop screen sharing. Then let me connect with the slide. All right, so this is where we left the other time. That is, how can we build a data pipeline? And I did mention that you need to create a new pipeline in your Fabric workspace, which we actually did. And you also need to add your source data, which could be from CSV file, one lake on Azure Blob. I also mentioned that you need to add a destination data set. That is, where is the data going into? We also need to configure transformation, right? Configuring transformation is that, okay, That's why when we didn't configure correctly, which was done in order to explain further, as regard that, we saw that okay, there were when we try to validate our pipeline, that okay, there were some things that we didn't do, and immediately we did it correct. We saw that the pipeline actually ran. Right. We also ran the pipeline. We also did what? Monitor execution. We also monitor execution. We also verify ingested data in the Lakehouse Explorer. All right, so that's about the demo. The best practices for data pipeline. It is important that when you are building pipeline, you don't build it to be very very huge. It is important that you start building from small and you scale gradually, right? The essence of this is that okay, you can easily trace if there is any error along the line, but if it is otherwise, it can be so cumbersome to trace where the error is. It's also important as a practice to use parameters for flexibility and usability. Now, if for instance now you are building a pipeline that requires that okay, at every point in time this has to be done, this has to be done, then you can just build a parameter. A parameter is just an availability, an opportunity to change values, right, at any point in time, which will make the operation to be flexible and reusable. So it's also important as part of the best practices to combine with notebooks for advanced logic. You can see that immediately I identify my source and destination. I I said on sources it should connect with what? Notebook, right? Where we can do what? Where I can do a lot of data transformation for advanced logic and some other operations. What is also important when you're talking about data governance that we leverage on sensitivity label for governance. The idea is that when you have a particular data that requires some level of sensitivity, maybe sensitivity could be at the level of generic, that is anybody can see the content, or it can be at the level of maybe official, that is whoever that is not part of the organization should not be able to see that data set. So we can leverage on sensitivity level for governance. Governance has to do with what? How we protect our data asset. So from people who should not have access to it. And if you should have access to it, do we give you permission or authorization to see everything, or we want to limit you to some particular aspect of the table that you can have a look at? Another best practices is that we can automate scheduling for production workload. Now, the other time I showed to you that that process should be done between 2:55 to 3:35, right? And the interval should be what? Should be 10. Now, this is a case study of automating scheduling for production workflow. For instance, now, if I have a boss that require me of my service that Opopola, this should be available. Maybe I need to build a report. Now my boss said, okay, this should be available maybe at 3 different times in a day. It should be available by 9 a.m. It should be available by 1 a.m. and it should be available by 4 p.m. I can go to the scheduling that I shown the other time. That is, okay, run this pipeline and make results available at this particular point in time, right? So, and that could be what? And that could be done. So this enhances what? Efficiency, and also save a lot of time and stress. All right, so what are the real world use cases? We use this pipeline in the retail industry. We use it in finance industry. We use it in healthcare industry, and we also use it in terms of startups. In retail, retail can use it for daily sales data injection. That is, as data are being captured from, we can build a pipeline that will access data from where data is being dropped into a table that we can now use for what? We can now use for maybe data analytics and some other visualization that may be required. we can, in terms of finance, we can combine structured and semi-structured data for what? For reporting. Just last week, I took a class on how we can use Cosmos DB for unstructured data format. And from the unstructured data format, we can now convert it to structured data format that can help us in terms of reporting and some other activities that we can do. In healthcare industry, it can help us to automate injection of patients on Internet of Things monitoring data. That is, data. Imagine I want to have a solution for maybe capturing data from maybe data centers across the country into a database, maybe national database in Abuja, right? We can say, okay, all data that are being captured, as they are being captured, they can be automated. That is, okay, pipeline, please run at every 1 hour, or run at every 30 minutes, or run at every 5 minutes, depending on the scenario at hand, so that we can know the actual figure at every point in time. So we can also use it in terms of startup business for fast prototyping applying for building dashboard. All right, so if you have any questions, I'm glad to answer your questions. Let me check if there are questions so that I can attend to them. Okay. Okay. I have a feedback from Mr. Olashupo Mayowa that this is a great job. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for that. The idea is that I'm here to give you the best as much as I can, and I'll be glad that everyone, you have the maximum benefit for the time you are spending with me. Please, in case after the end of this section, in case you have any questions, please do share your questions with me. You can make use of my LinkedIn account. Let me display my contacts for you to ask your questions. Under here, this is just a recap of what we have covered for today. These are my contacts. On any one of those contacts, I'll be glad to attend to your what to your questions if you have anyone. All right, so thank you for being part of today's section, and by next time we'll be looking more deeper into maybe an end-to-end case study that would now will be an advanced operations on data pipeline, right? Today we have seen, last time we discussed about data ingestion, and one of the component of data ingestion that we discussed was on what? On a pipeline, how we can make use pipeline to ingest data, and I have been able to demonstrate that today. So next time, which is probably next week, I'll be looking more deeper into some other operations that we can do within maybe an end-to-end operations within what? Within pipeline environment. So thank you so much and enjoy the rest of your week. Thank you so much and see you next time. Bye bye. So yes, this session is being recorded. Somebody asked, this section is being recorded. You can access the recording section on the YouTube and also on my LinkedIn page. You can watch the recorded version on YouTube and my LinkedIn page. So thank you and enjoy the rest of your weekend. Bye bye.